That's great. That's great. We're here flowing in the prophetic for the house.
That's right, that's right. From the house and for the house, this is the sacred place where we come together to be nourished by the Word of God. And for this wonderful new opportunity to experience the mission firsthand, we've invited someone special who was basically born right here in the Joshua Generation Ministry and always says a heartfelt yes to the mission whenever called upon. Please join me as we give a very warm welcome to our leader, Yasiel. Hello, how are you, Leader Yasiel? How are you doing today, sir?
All good, all good. Proud to be here. We're always behind the scenes, but today we're here as the main characters.
That's right. That's right. It is truly wonderful and inspiring, Yasiel, that you said yes to this mission and you're here right now celebrating and enjoying with us how incredibly wonderful the Father is with all of us and the many unique and diverse spiritual gifts He gives us in the different missions and in our daily way of life. And without further ado, Leader Yesiel, we'd like to hear about your experience throughout this journey in taking on this role in the Generacion Joshua ministry. What has your experience been like during all this time? Tell us.
Today, I really want to take a moment to talk about just how incredibly powerful knowledge truly is and the immense weight it carries in our lives. Honestly, I've often heard people say that knowledge is a complex, double edged sword, perhaps one of the strongest and most influential weapons we have at our disposal, but it's also very contradictory in nature. This is because once you finally learn something new, you realize that you can never go back to seeing things in quite the same way ever again. Because there are times when you find yourself in situations where maybe you, as a person or in the flesh, want to do something you want, but once you have the knowledge of the kingdom and you start to take it on, you realize that's not the right thing to do. That's not the right decision. And a lot of times, more often than not, when you do things like that, in your flesh, you might find that you really want to fool yourself deep down inside. Or in the case of wanting to seek advice or something, even though you already know what you have to do, even though you have the knowledge and you know what you need to do. Take me, for instance. More often than not, we look for advice from people who don't have that knowledge just so they can tell us exactly what we want to hear. And we don't look for guidance from people who have the same knowledge as us, from people who can advise us from a more enlightened point of view, because maybe we already have a good idea of what we're going to hear and we don't want to hear it. Well, knowledge has been something that, like you said at the very beginning, since I was first born into the ministry, it is something I don't really notice anymore because it is something I have grown up with my entire life. I was always hearing the word on Sundays when we were there in person, and then again on Fridays during the youth services, and even virtually. I have always been deeply connected to it all. So, all of that incredible knowledge and wisdom that you've been carefully acquiring over the many years, when you are spending time with people who aren't from the kingdom, you often feel like you simply don't belong there anymore. There are definitely times when I am hanging out with my close friends who aren't involved in the ministry, and a lot of times they have certain specific ways of thinking or acting that, since I have the spiritual knowledge, I don't really see as being right. But they, being more worldly in their views, truly think that it actually is perfectly okay for them to do. And sometimes I even say to myself, dang, but am I the one who's wrong? Because I end up being the minority, they're the majority, they all think the same way together, but I don't think like that. Is it that I'm the one who's wrong, or what's really going on? But no, the thing is that I have knowledge and they don't. And that's exactly what I was referring to at the very beginning. Quite often in my life, I find myself needing some genuine guidance and advice, whether it's about a family issue, a deeply personal matter, or a difficult decision I want to make. But I really just want people to tell me exactly what I want to hear. So for that, I go and talk to a friend of mine. I tell him, hey, look, this is happening to me. This is going on. I'm thinking about doing this and that. I know, since I know my friend, that he's going to tell me what I want to hear, and I'm going to use that as an excuse. Oh no, I talked it over with so and so. So and so told me yes, that it's fine. I'm trying to help myself by lying to myself because I know I have. I know it's not what I'm supposed to do, but I want to do it to satisfy the flesh, not the spirit. And that's why I don't ask someone who actually has the knowledge. And if I'm going to ask someone who actually has the knowledge, what I start thinking is, oh no, because if I tell so and so this, so and so is just going to tell me this. I don't want so and so to tell me that. I'm aware that that's what I need to do, but I don't want to face it.
So that is the personal experience I have to share with you today.
Oh my God. Oh, no, Lewis, that's enough. That's good enough for now. Oh my God.
If you want, wrap it up.
Oh, but the guy Kane stirred up trouble and left.
He dropped a bomb and left.
Well, Lewis, now for real.
Oh my goodness.
With this one, my brother, if it doesn't kill, it leaves an impact. Well, this one really hits hard. My God. But these guys are coming in aggressive. They're so confident because they were born into this ministry. Now they think they can just cast their vote like it's nothing. Oh, for God's sake. Wow, this has my head spinning like crazy.
I bet.
I was dying for the brother to finally be quiet, but that's enough. Please stop. Please don't beat us up anymore. Please don't beat us up anymore. But no, really, really, really powerful. Wow.
What?
Wow, so much substance in this experience. And listen, sometimes you're like, what topic do you even pick? Because there's just so much to talk about.
Yeah.
But I'm really gonna base myself on everything you shared. And that is, like, spirits attract each other. That's gonna be the topic we're gonna use. Like, spirits attract each other. That's the topic we're gonna use as the foundation for this experience, where there's a lot to unpack. And I like some about this because in a way you're doing a retrospective, where you come from, where you are now, you know what I mean? Even the very destination where you're headed, specifically because of the way you handle this entire experience.
Yeah.
And above all, look how powerful it is when the word is planted. The word says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it.
That's right.
A lot of people think it has to do with the word itself. No, it has to do with the prophetic in that child, how to shape it. But in this case, yes, when you plant the word, that word, you could even, as we say in good Dominican slang, go to hell, and hell itself would have to spit you out because of the grace that's in you, because of that prophetic thing that's in you. You hear how powerful that is? That tends to happen a lot. That's why you see that we present children in the ministry, even though some people take that lightly. No, the presentation of children is a declaration of the parents' rights over their children.
Yep.
Exactly. That's why, even though the enemy is desperate to take the children away from among the prophets, it's not that easy for him, because these are kids who have been decreed, who have had that prophetic seed established over them. And how powerful it is that the leader talks about that, about how even though sometimes they don't have that deep-rooted connection after they grow up, that word is still in them.
That's right.
It's so true that the other day we were together with the leader. I don't remember where we were. And I was saying that when I speak, these young people understand me better than the adults, even better than the older folks. And you ask yourself, why? I told the group they understand me naturally because they've listened to me since before they could even reason. Now when they hear me talk, they get everything. I say deep things and they're just like, oh, okay, cool. Like it's nothing. It's great seeing these teenagers from this ministry understand everything prophetic because they listen to every recording. They grew up watching and listening to it at home. And that's why the word is so deeply rooted that in this case, when the leader comes and joins with another spirit, one that's contrary, in this case, people who aren't walking in prophetic alignment, it grates on him like, hey, this doesn't fit. Hey, this. Because without even realizing it, and I say without realizing it, anyone who has an awakened spirit, since there's a word rooted in their heart, when they hear something that's out of tune with principle, it grates on you.
That's right.
When the enemy tries to pull a fast one on you, you push back. You see, there's always going to be something that prevents you from fully carrying out what the enemy wants you to do.
Wow.
Meanwhile, the crowd does go along with it, and there comes a point because of a lack of connection, because most of the time, those who fall into that doubt are the ones whose connection has weakened. Everyone who lets their connection drop ends up hanging out with people who are just there for entertainment. Listen to how tough that is, Lewis. Anyone who lets their connection drop, the enemy will always find a way to distract you. I've always said, folks, look, entertainment isn't about any kind of social gathering. Entertainment's about distracting you from what you're supposed to be doing. That's entertainment. So when the leader sees that his environment, the atmosphere around him, is moving in a direction that's not the one he knows, because there's something planted in his spirit that bothers him, that says, no, that's not right. And that's when he feels like, okay, but then doubt comes and visits him. Is it me who's wrong? Why? Because everyone does it. Yes, everyone does it, but not everyone comes with a biblical foundation that Christ established, the one Christ laid down so that we wouldn't end up like the world does, lost, and ultimately losing eternal life.
Oh, wow.
That's what happens. Now, notice that the point is, like spirits attract each other. You have to do a self-assessment. Because what am I doing, being of the kingdom, if I'm associating 100% with those who aren't of the kingdom? Where am I going to end up? Where are they going to end up? Where is the condemned person going to end up? By the way, remember that the condemned person wasn't condemned by God. They're condemned because they denied the faith, because they rejected salvation. So what are you doing cheering on the condemned, but at the same time expecting everything to turn out fine?
Wow.
Hello? Hello? Did you all leave? That's intense. Are you there? Yes, we're here. If you know that you are someone who's headed for eternity, what are you doing with someone who's going to be condemned? So here's the thing, like spirits attract each other. That means I'm looking for the spirits that please me, even though the word says otherwise. Wow, hello. That's intense. That's where we change prophets. I'm not going to go to the prophet who biblically corresponds to me, because Christ established the ministry so you would know where you need to go to seek counsel. What do? Let me see which prophet is going to tell me what I want to hear. That's intense. See how interesting that is? Yeah, no, I don't go to my dad. What's up with that? I know what my dad'll say. To my mom, are you crazy? And the pastor. Yeah, right, even less to the apostle. Lord, rebuke the devil. Lord, rebuke the devil. No, let me go to my little friend, or the little gossiping spirit over there, or that rebellious one, or the one with rebellion. Everyone goes looking for the prophet that fits them. They look for a tailor-made suit, thinking that at least I'm looking for it. I'm looking for help so people won't say I just went off on my own. But do you know why they do that? Because you can still see that everyone, even in their spirit of error, they have some kind of training. Wow. Oh, wow. Nothing personal. Nothing personal, Lewis. Listen, they're still manipulating the spiritual world, and they do it in an orderly way. I look for guidance, because their training tells them you can't do it alone. Listen to how intense that is. Wow. There's still a kind of training that clearly they know they have to seek guidance. That they can't depend entirely on themselves. But look where the trickery comes in. Yeah, but I looked for the prophet that fits me. Exactly. That's the point. Like spirits attract. If I'm a liar, who do I seek? Another liar. Yeah, I'm a gossip. Who else to ask? More rumors. I'm an adulterer. Where to go? Looking for another adulterer? I'm a fornicator. I'll find another fornicator. I'm a thief. Look for another thief. I'm always going to look for the spirit that I want to minister to me, what I want to talk about. Hello, that's intense. If y'all think it's too much, let me know, because should I go back or is it good? It's good right there. Should I go back? It's just right. Flaws right there. It's just right. Okay. So you'll always see, even in ministries, how people group together, the rebels and the gossips. I mean, all the groups will end up grouping according to the spirit that's operating. Yes. And so the word says we should weigh the spirits. So when you're a group, you have to check what spirit is operating in that group. Because at the end of the day, you can't just play dumb and say, oh, they're inviting me to steal, but oh no, maybe I'm the one who's wrong. No, you're fine. The thing is, you like the spirit that's around because you want to be accepted. Wow. And when you're struggling with wanting to be accepted, approved, because that same rejection is still bothering you, making you believe that you're nobody, and in the end, the stereotypes they show you, listen, they're the opposite of what the fundamentals teach you. So you're stuck in a dilemma. And that's where you're struggling with your marks, which wants to go along with the crowd because the mark wants to. Because marks, folks, if you don't work on them, in the end, you're going to end up being harassed and triggered by them. And there's something interesting about the marks. And in this case, the leader who is very young. Sometimes it might be that he doesn't know what the marks is because he probably hasn't finished working on it completely. And the marks comes between the lines, and he needs to figure it out. Number one, the one that comes through the bloodline. When you look at the marks in your bloodline, you already know where you shouldn't get involved. Because if you see the marks in a bloodline of death, you need to know to steer away from that line, because that mark could blow up on you. Of course, if you see that a mark in a line shows up in an area that manifests as depression, let me move to another line. In other words, I'm never going to connect myself to what I know that mark is chasing me for, whether it's environmental, generational, or personal. That's right. Man, that's intense. So there are a lot of people who, thinking they're knowledgeable, test themselves. No, I can be around anyone, and I don't believe in the tough guys. One of the people who learn the most by consequence are the tough guys. Why? Because you buy into the story that you are what you can do. And that's not true. Listen to me. Jose always ran away. Jose never stayed. Because at the end of the day, you can't pretend that you know everything. No, guys, we have to err on the side of being an idiot, being weak, being a coward. Yes, because you can't be hanging out in environments that aren't good for you. You can't go around looking for picking the profit you want when there's a whole structure designed by Christ so you know where you need to go. Because Christ didn't design something just for you to like it. Christ structured it and put his own seal on what he wants. At the end of the day, what he established wasn't based on the person you're going to look to for guidance. It's based on the fact that he was the one who put his seal on it. Wow. Did you catch that, my friend? Wow. You get what I mean? That's why when demons come, they know Jesus and the one Jesus put his seal on. I know Jesus and the apostle. And who are you? Oh, wow, wow, wow. The demons don't know, yes. No rank that hasn't been sent or sealed. No one in this ministry who hasn't been given a seal or ascending has the authority to go against a demon.
That's right.
That's why demons camouflage themselves and become dividers. They divide and stay hidden and move like snakes. They're always hidden because they can't go to authority, because authority doesn't please them. It grates on them. And it's like the leader says, I choose the one who's going to tell me what I want to hear. Those are signs of entities that want to manipulate, that want to divide, and that want to get their own way.
That's right.
Wow, that's intense.
Yeah.
That's why, I repeat, you have to weigh the spirits, because like spirits attract each other. And that's easy to identify, but it's also good for you to put a stop to it, because you can't expect anything good to happen knowing the spirits that are at work. You always have this little hope, like they're going to change, they're going to change, they're going to change. Meanwhile, the word says, look, let them turn to you, not you to them.
Yeah.
Hello? Hello? Look, I have a very radical saying. I'm not Jesus Christ, so the one who saves is Jesus Christ, not me. I can help you, under the guidance of the Spirit, but I won't go beyond where I'm not allowed to go. Nor am I out here trying to get people to change just because I'm going to lower myself. No, I move by direction. Because the word clearly says that by trying to be a herald for someone else, you might even lose your own position. You have to be very careful.
Yes.
So our actions always have to be taken with the right authority. And you have to know where you're moving. because that slick, street smart way of manipulating things, where if things aren't done my way, then I create my own alternative or my own way out. Those spirits are very subtle, and whoever wants to fall into that does so because they choose to. But remember one thing, nothing you do independently is free.
Well,
Oh?
wow.
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 Hey, listen to that. Nothing you do independently is free. Everything you do without spiritual guidance, you have to pay for it sooner or later.
That's tough.
Look. There's something you're not understanding. Look, the natural world is governed by the spiritual world. You think it's all free, moving through the world, going somewhere else, you stop connecting, hang out with friends, going places, and then you see this girl. Wow, what a girl. And you're clueless. I mean, God help you, because they're just waiting for you to mess up.
That's tough.
That thing about running away from the whip of discipline, just to look for someone to go easy on you, that has consequences. It would have been better to let yourself be punished with the whip than to act independent and choose your own path. In the end, that brings consequences. It's better to face things head on, within your rights. It's better to focus on the little you have, on what belongs to you. It's better to put yourself under authority and let yourself be disciplined by your authority than to let the devil harass you and steal everything you have.
Yeah.
Did you see how interesting that is?
Yeah, I see.
It's just that it wasn't as simple as you making decisions lightly. For you, your decisions were easy, but the devil was happy with your foolishness.
That's tough.
The devil is happy because he has knowledge, but he acts slick and the devil congratulates you. Well, smart kid, make my life easy so I can take you down.
Wow.
So you can't be that incredibly short-sighted, because just imagine how much knowledge was meticulously poured out, only for us to simply discard it all and not take it in. You don't give the enemy flowers. You don't make it easy for him. Authority, as you clearly said, is a double-edged sword because it cuts both ways. But also, if you think that what you know, you'll be able to manipulate it, you can't. It'll cut you itself,
Wow.
because no one can manipulate the Holy Spirit. But there's something even stronger. No one can manipulate God's justice. Both the good and the bad are subject to God's justice. And if, with the knowledge of authority to wield that sword, you used it for self-indulgence, then you'll pay the consequence of having removed God's plan from your life. You're the one who removed yourself. God has never removed you. You're the one who condemned yourself. God never condemns you.
Yes.
And consider just how incredibly dangerous it is when we choose to take God's eternal truth so lightly. All of this happens because we gave completely free rein to our own human passion, to that deep, soulish passion where you decided to go your very own way, but I simply didn't go out of a spirit of true obedience.
Yes.
So that sacrifice of independence comes with a price. And the word says, the wages of sin is death.
That is right.
The wages of sin is indeed death. For everyone who goes against it, the principle is giving sin a right, and that sin has a consequence where it comes to destroy you. So God cannot be mocked. That needs to be very clear. The devil does not mock God. Man cannot mock God. No one can mock God. No matter how independent or proud you act, everyone will reap what they sow, whether good or bad. Everyone is responsible for managing what God has placed in their hands. That's why you now have all the knowledge to discern the spirits operating around you.
Yes.
So you know which way to go and which way not to go. So you know what the end is for every life that hasn't taken on the foundation that Christ came to establish. Because Christ himself said, you call me Lord, you praise me, you say you believe in me, but you don't do what I say. So we can't get tired of doing what's right. We can't stray from doing what we're supposed to, because the sacred manual of life clearly says not to grow weary, because at the proper and appointed time, we will reap our harvest.
We really appreciate you tuning in to our podcast, Mission G. We look forward to seeing you in the next episode.